One of Japan's national drinks, sake, or in Japanese, nihonshu, is frankly complicated even if you were born in Japan, raised in Japan, and are a native Japanese speaker. Why is that? Well, it's because it's full of complications. Sake is, as a beverage, both really easy to describe and really difficult. It's rice, water, yeast, and the koji microorganism mixed together into a mash and then brewed over about a month. But that doesn't get anywhere in trying to actually explain what sake is and what sake means to Japanese culture and many Japanese people. Frankly, the word sake only means sake in English. In Japanese, sake is booze. Beer is sake, wine is sake in Japanese. You have to say nihonshu or you have to say seishu. And seishu is literally like clear or clean alcohol, clean booze, right? And so it's hard to know from the written word. And there's not a lot of evidence because people wanted to protect how they were making their sake, right? And so every brewery has its own special style. Every brewing tradition has its own special style. I don't know a lot of people who are casual sake enjoyers. It's either, oh, I want to learn everything about this beverage, or it's like fine, I'll drink it from time to time. There's not much in the middle there, which is really interesting, I think, for us at Sake on Air, right? It's a special thing that kind of captures your interest. Fundamentally, sake is a beverage that has been enjoyed in Japan in some form or another for at least 600 years, if not thousands of years. So if you want to order sake in Japan, what we think of as sake in English, you have to order seishu. Except if you say seishu, you're going to get some funny looks because the only people who really use seishu, literally clean or clear alcohol, are the National Tax Agency because it's legally defined. What people say is nihonshu, which is Japanese alcohol. And so it's tied to the Japanese spirit, sake. And sake is not just this like beverage that has been replaced by beer and highballs and chuhais and things like that. It is still seen as this very Japanese style of beverage. In so much as if you ask a Japanese person what sake is, often they'll correct you and say Japanese sake, as opposed to all of the other sake that is made outside of Japan, which, let's be fair, there's more sake being made outside of Japan every year, but sake is Japanese still. Sake is complicated. As I keep saying, sake is complicated. Sake has a lot of terms that are sometimes hard to understand, like junmai or ginjo or daiginjo. But these terms do not really refer to flavor. So junmai is basically sake that doesn't have any brewer's alcohol added to it. So it's truly just rice, water, koji, and yeast. Those are the four ingredients, and there's nothing else in a junmai. Ginjo and daiginjo refer to polishing ratio. Already we're starting to get into like gastronomical science when we're talking about it, rather than talking about the flavor, right? It's polishing ratio. Polishing ratio of what? Polishing ratio of rice. So polishing ratio is actually the amount of rice remaining as part of the preparation of the rice for making sake. Sake is made from polished rice, but polished rice could be 90%. So you've only removed 10%. You've basically gone from brown rice to white rice. Or the polishing ratio could be 60%. And in fact, if it's between 50 and 60%, you're at ginjo. Ginjo by itself is going to be ginjo and then have a little bit of added alcohol to it to kind of stabilize the sake and spread out the flavors. Junmai ginjo does not have that added alcohol, but it's the same amount of polishing. Daiginjo is actually even less. So you've taken even more away from the rice. And now you're at anything that has a polishing ratio below 50% can be called a daiginjo. But here's the whole complicated thing about sake. You don't have to call a daiginjo. You just can. I could make a sake that has a 10% polishing ratio, and I could just call it a futsushu, which is a Japanese term, the Japanese legal term for basically table sake. It's the most basic type of sake. There's nothing particularly interesting about it from a legal perspective. I could choose to do that. Now, the association with Junmai and the association with Ginjo and Daiginjo in the Japanese market is a premium association. They're referred to as premium sake types. And so I might be losing out on all of my hard work making a 10% polishing ratio sake by calling it a Futsushu table sake. But I totally could if I want to. And so these terms are not necessarily very helpful when it comes to flavor. They're very helpful when it comes to understanding what the brewers were kind of trying to do, because they're, in general, either trying to make something that is typically a Ginjo style, so very aromatic, not necessarily very heavy in the mouthfeel. The palate is going to be a lot lighter compared to the aroma. But it doesn't have to be. As a brewer, if I were a brewer, I could make a Ginjo sake, sell a Ginjo sake that had a lot of umami and was very rich and powerful, and people would be super surprised by that. People would be really surprised by that. But I could do that, right? Because I can do anything, because it's just a recommendation. Futsushu, the most basic sake legislation, which is just straight up seishu, you could sell any sake like that if you wanted to. And then it gets more difficult to sell the harder, more premium styles, because you have to meet these requirements set up by beginners. And so if you want to learn how actually to find the sake that you like, there is really only one way. And that way is to drink a lot of sake, or drink a lot of varieties of sake. And then when you find the variety of sake that you happen to like, it's taking a photo, taking a picture, and then sharing it with the people who you're going to go drinking with the next time, sharing it with your waiter, your server, sharing it with the person at the sake shop, and being like, I like this kind of sake. Please help me find other sake that are like this sake. And then you can start to develop like, oh, this brewery makes sake that I like. This brewery makes sake that I like. There's about 1,300 sake breweries in Japan, or Nihonshu breweries in Japan, because of course sake, if you go to Kagoshima or something, is going to be shochu. It's not even going to be what we call Nihonshu. But there's about, over 1,000 Nihonshu breweries. And they all do things in their own idiosyncratic way. It's all different. And they all make a variety of sake. Very few sake breweries will only make this one type of sake. They probably most likely have a Ginjo, Daiginjo, Junmai. Maybe they're all Junmai. Maybe they're all brewers added alcohol sakes. You really have a lot of different variety in the sake world. And finding those breweries that you like, either in Japan or overseas, is really kind of the opening step to becoming a sake lover, really enjoying the beverage for what it is. If we're being honest with each other though, you're not watching this video because you want to know what sake is. You want to know what good sake is. And honestly, good sake is the sake that you like. For me, good sake is pretty sour, pretty umami rich, and really good warm. And maybe not that tasty cold. But that's my personal palate. That's what I like right now. It's what I like in the past 6 months. And one bottle of sake is not representative of all sake. If you buy a bottle at a supermarket, if you buy a bottle at a bottle shop, if you come to Japan and have a bottle of sake, a glass of sake in an izakaya, and you don't like it, that doesn't mean you don't like sake. That means you don't like that kind of sake. And that kind of sake is the way it is because of all of the various variables. It's the rice type, it's how the brewer was feeling that day, it's the type of water, it's the location, it's when it was brewed, it's the type of yeast, the type of yeasts, the type of koji. It is all of those things mixed together and creating a single beverage. And so good sake is the sake that you like, which means you have to find the sake that you like, which means you kind of have to try a lot of different sakes. Of course, beer is also complicated, wine is also complicated, but comparatively, you can try 1 or 2 beers and you're like, this is kind of the platonic ideal of a beer. This is the platonic ideal of this kind of grape for wine. With sake, because it's so much about the choices that the brewer makes, you can have the same rice, the same water, and 2 different people can make drastically 2 different flavors of sake. The time you stop the actual brewing process affects the flavor of sake and how it feels in the mouth. And so good sake is the sake that you like. how do you find the sake that you like? You try a lot of different sake. And maybe you like the cheapest sake. Maybe you like really expensive sake. It's hard to say. But the only way you're going to find what good sake is if you try sake. And honestly, I'd recommend coming to Japan if you're able to try sake, because it's going to be a lot more cost effective, and you're going to be able to visit a lot of different restaurants and actual breweries to try their sake and try all of the varieties of their sake, because there's like there's about 1,300 sake breweries in Japan, and almost all of those sake breweries are producing more than one kind of sake. It's not just a single brewery producing a single sake. They're producing a ginjo, a daiginjo, a junmai daiginjo, and all of these little varieties mean that maybe you like this type of sake from that brewery and that type of sake from this brewery, and the sakes themselves are very similar, even if the breweries are actually very different. So that's kind of the way you discover good sake. That's how you find your good sake. You just gotta try various stuff and remember what you like and what you don't like. I mean, you could just come to the info center at JSS. They have over 100 different bottles of sake and shochu. They regularly do events. It's all in English. It's very reasonably priced. I mean, it is kind of day drinking because they're not open on the weekends or after 6 p.m. But if you want to learn about sake, JSS is a great place to start. An izakaya is a great place to start. Your local Japanese restaurant is a great place to start, because it's about trying sake and finding the sake that you like. So I think that's going to be everything for this episode. Please subscribe if you're interested in what we're doing, and leave a like, because that helps the algorithm make it possible for us to be seen by other people. And if you have any questions about sake, if you want to know stuff about sake, please do leave a comment. We will try to respond in the comments or in another video. It just kind of depends on how complicated your question is. If it's something like, what is junmai? Yeah, we could answer that, or maybe we'll make a video in the future all about junmai. But thank you guys so much.